Imagine a stretch of the Everglades repurposed as a high-stakes prison experiment in the heart of Florida. At night, the swamp comes alive with a relentless chorus of cicadas, and the only signs of life beyond starlit grasses are snakes and alligators basking beside still water. Yet one bend of the deserted road stands out. A bright blue sign reading Alligator Alcatraz marks a dusty turnoff where pickup trucks circle before dawn. When I approached the perimeter, the guard rolled her window down an inch, enough to choke on mosquitoes, but too little to hold a conversation. "The bugs are too bad," she explained, and she was right. A handful of air will swarm with dozens of biting insects. Alligator Alcatraz is Florida's bold new immigration detention facility, and it opened in early July. The state has transformed an old airstrip into a camp of plastic party tents, housing more than 900 immigrants. But here's where it gets controversial. Instead of relying on federal funding or seasoned private contractors, the state of Florida is footing the bill and running operations itself. Governor Ron DeSantis, eager to stake his conservative credentials after challenging Donald Trump, pitched the idea to the administration, and Attorney General James Uthmeier proposed the swamp as the perfect natural barrier. Fugitives would have nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. In just over a week, Florida invoked emergency powers to seize 50 acres from Miami-Dade County and erect a 3,000-bed complex in the middle of a national preserve. Unlike America's typical immigrant detention centers, Alligator Alcatraz feels more like a hurricane relief camp than a prison. The state's emergency management agency oversees every detail from logistics to security. They hired Dynamic Integrated Security, a company known for school safety, to recruit correctional officers. Job ads promise $10,000 a month with no prison experience required, only an on-site orientation and a willingness to start ASAP. Inside each tent are 8 wire cages fitted with bunk beds, sleeping 32 men apiece. There is no running water or electricity. Water trucks deliver drinking water, and generators power air conditioning through giant hoses. Detainees report the water often makes them ill, and despite the blowing cold air, the tents can feel like steam rooms. After sundown, frogs and biting insects pour in. And this is the part most people miss. If a hurricane sweeps through, an almost inevitable event in late summer, the flimsy tents could easily flood, and there is no clear plan for evacuation. The facility plans to expand to 4,000 beds by the end of August, which would make it the largest in the United States. Construction crews keep racing to build new rows of tents as buses deliver immigrants from Chrome, other Miami jails, and local lockups. Because it operates outside federal authority, there is no public data on detainee demographics or criminal histories. Lawyers have filed lawsuits after being denied access. In mid-July, there were no visiting rooms. One of the 2 doctors assigned to conduct medical exams admitted she didn't even know where the nearest hospital was. The head of the facility says ambulances are called daily for emergencies, and so far, no one has died. This isn't the first time tents have sheltered immigrants. The Obama administration used them in San Antonio for unaccompanied children, and President Biden housed Afghan refugees in tents in El Paso. But those camps were never intended as instruments of performative punishment. Alligator Alcatraz clearly is. Republican fundraisers are already selling themed T-shirts. One reads, "Ice with a bite," while Donald Trump has joked that alligators will guard the perimeters. Experts who know the Everglades scoff at that threat. Alligators rarely attack unprovoked. In Miami, where nearly 70% of residents identify as Hispanic, the spectacle hasn't won many converts. Local leaders expected federal authorities to detain suspected gang members, not house-cleaning staff or Uber drivers. Arbitrary measures to hunt down people who attend their hearings isn't what we voted for, wrote the co-founder of Latinos for Trump on social media. Critics note that many arrived in a land their grandparents once fled. Even within the Republican Party, some question whether using the swamp as a stage for deportation theater aligns with American values of refuge for the poor and huddled masses. Recent polls suggest most Americans are uneasy. 52% feel the government is deporting more people than they anticipated, and 57% oppose new detention centers. Last month, President Trump's approval rating on immigration flipped from positive to negative. On July 25th, the administration announced $608 million in federal funds for state-run detention sites, potentially prompting other governors to follow Florida's lead. They might be wise to pause and consider whether their own voters will accept a strategy that many see as harsh spectacle. Controversy now reigns. Is Alligator Alcatraz a necessary defense of our borders, or an abuse of power disguised as a swampland safari? Share your thoughts and let's debate. Did Florida go too far or not far enough?